30 years ago, in the small Yorkshire town of Helmsley, Alison Ticehurst, a local nurse, opened up these doors and stumbled upon an 18th century walled garden that was lying entirely overgrown and dormant. This accidental rediscovery turned into a historic restoration that has led to this stunning 5-acre garden that can be found behind those same doors today. Join June Tainch, the Executive Director at Helmsley, as she takes us on a tour of the garden to explore its rich history, thoughtful plantings, and its national collections.
So Helmsley Walled Garden was the kitchen garden for Duncan Park House. It still belongs to Duncan Park House, which is up on the hill up there. And as a kitchen garden, it provided all the fruit and vegetables for the house. It provided cut flowers. The garden, like many walled gardens in the UK and all over Britain, was really left abandoned after the First World War, when lots of the gardeners went away to war and of course didn't come home. That's the really sad fact about the shift into the Industrial Revolution, when there were no longer people to do the work, and places like this were just left to go to rack and ruin. The garden was rediscovered after a period of time where it really wasn't being used. It was rediscovered by a lady called Alison Ticehurst. She literally pushed open a gate and came across this abandoned garden that was just full of weeds, nettles, thistles, no trace of any of the plants that would have been here. And Alison was somebody who really was well ahead of her time, in that she knew that the garden could support the community here. The layout is the one thing that is original, that was uncovered by Alison and the people that helped her. So the paths of the garden are the original paths. The dipping pond in the centre is the original dipping pond. Hot border is our real jewel in the crown, and it really comes into its own. It's actually gorgeous just now with the alliums and the beech hedge. This is Copper Beech. As its name sounds, it's full of really deep reds and purples and yellows. It's very zingy once it comes into its own. We're asked constantly, when is the laburnum arch in flower? It's in flower right now. And the alliums, and of course that's a really amazing colour combination with the yellow and the purple alliums. We also have a wisteria arch. This has got to be one of the loveliest views in the garden, where you've got the combination of the alliums, the wisteria and the laburnum all together, which is such a lovely vision by a gardener. I think it was Paul Radcliffe who designed this space many years ago, probably about 15 years ago, and it's still looking fabulous. The irises, we have an iris border that stretches right from one end of the garden to the other, and that's just coming into flower as well now. So this deep purpley one we have lots of, and I think this is Draco. These are Iris germanica, the bearded iris which have big rhizomes rather than rooted in the ground. And this border extends right the way up to the other end of the garden. Right down in the corner is our wild pond and our wild border, which can look a little bit messy because it's full of native plants, but it's really lovely. If you take the time to look at that, there's some lovely things in there as well. This is our wild pond, where we've got lots of candelabra primula, and again we've not been in here for a little while, but we're leaving it pretty much to look after itself. This is our shaded border. This wall gives a little bit of shade in the early morning, so there's quite a few shade lovers in here. We've got very little shade in the garden. There's so many beautiful shade loving plants. It's quite nice to have an area that we can plant with them. This is all the way up the border, Solomon Seal, which is a gorgeous, elegant plant. There's quite deep shade down here, so we've got lots of acers down here, this end of the garden. We have a big kitchen garden, which looks beautiful just now actually, and all the produce from the kitchen garden, either volunteers can take it home, or we have it at the kiosk and people can give a donation and take it away with them. This area here actually is our community plots. So we have people who live in the town pay a small contribution. They pay £20 a year donation to the garden, and they have their own bed. Lots of them are actually maintained by volunteers. Lots of volunteers have a community plot here as well. And then this is our kitchen garden. And this is a medlar, which is a gorgeous tree, and this is the most blossom I have ever seen on it. If each of these becomes a fruit, it's going to be absolutely laden with fruit this year, actually. Just last year, we were awarded the National Collection of Yorkshire apple trees, which are our cordoned apples down near the kitchen garden, which is really interesting. It's really old varieties. And we also have the National Collection of rosebud pelargoniums, and they're in our orchid house. This is the orchard. We'll be cutting this probably in a few weeks once the Camassia in here finish flowering. This group of trees was actually planted by Alison Ticehurst probably about 25 years ago or so, so they're quite well established old apple trees. It is a work in progress, as all gardens are. It's not a finished, pristine article. It's a community garden in the most real sense, because it genuinely supports its community. This area is our long border. It's soft pastel colours in contrast to the hot border. We've got Echinops in here, we've got Phlomis, we've got Iris siberica, so softer blues and yellows as opposed to the hot colours. We've got peonies in here, a few lupins as well. And this lovely Persicaria, which is a really pretty one. We're slowly filling this up with that, actually. It's a good bulky plant. I have a real passion for the impact of gardening on individuals and the well-being of individuals, the improvements that we see in people and the development, the personal development we see through gardening in individuals. We have 4 volunteering sessions every week, every morning, and we can have up to 14 volunteers in each session. We have a total of 105 volunteers involved with the garden. Volunteering is the backbone of the garden. It's not so much about what we need them to do, it's what they want to do and what they enjoy, and that's what we encourage them to get involved with. The other thing that we want to try and, I suppose, represent to visitors are achievable results. We're not a very manicured garden, we're a relaxed garden. We want to encourage people to try some of the things that we've created here in their garden, because all of the garden is manageable by volunteers, and that means that people can recreate what we're doing. We're not doing anything that's desperately challenging or precious, but the standard of horticulture, the garden, is really high. So people can see what we do and how we do it, and maybe take that home with them as well.
To find out more about Helmsley Walled Garden, head over to horticulture.co.uk or check the link in the description of this video. Thanks for watching.